Welcome to Roseflower Radio, the show that goes behind the scenes of your favorite independent artists and creatives. I'm your co-host, Micah Wilson.
And I'm your co-host, Finlay. With us today is a cinematographer, music video editor, and creator, director, whatever you want to call it, and the founder of DUMBDAYS, a collective production company. We're going to get into that a little bit more. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alex from DUMBDAYS.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so when you go on the DUMBDAYS website, it tells you to join the DUM initiative.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit? What is the DUM initiative? What are you trying to achieve with that?
I think the goal for being dumb to me is like following your kind of creative instincts. And like growing up, like I loved, like I don't know about you guys, I'm 24, found out YouTube when I was like 7, fell in love with it, thought it was so sick. I made like everything I would like make stop motion stuff, whatever I wanted to do. And I just like loved doing that. That was so cool to me. And like, to me, like that was kind of dumb, so to speak. Because a lot of people like when I was growing up, like, oh, that's so weird. Like you should go be doing other stuff. Like that's kind of like, shouldn't you be focusing on school or shouldn't you be doing this or that? That's so dumb. But to me, I was like, no, this is freaking awesome. Like this is so cool. And I think just like following your creative instinct and what you want, that's what being dumb is. And kind of flipping the usual term of like being dumb is like a negative thing, right? Negative connotation.
Yeah.
Seeing it as more of like, that's what your creative instinct is. Your creative mind is like the dumb thing, kind of creating your own wave. Like, because as you know too, like in the modern world we're in of like creatives and stuff like that, like you can do whatever the fuck you want. Mm-hmm. Can I curse also?
Oh, yeah, absolutely you can. Absolutely the fuck you can.
Okay, great. You can do whatever the fuck you want. So it's like follow that. Like who cares about going down a traditional route, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it be, whatever you do, music, film, whatever it is, like screw that. Do what you love. And I'm a big fan of like following your creative instinct before even knowing what that even is, like what the purpose of it is. So that's kind of what being dumb is. And I want to use it as a platform to inspire others, like the young creatives. Like when I was little, exploring YouTube and finding like going down rabbit holes, finding YouTubers and like becoming inspired like that. Like that's kind of the ultimate goal of DUMBDAYS is like to be a place where younger creatives, any creatives can go to and like be like a safe place to like be dumb, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the goal. But the website is really outdated though. If you go on the website, it's not like I think it's like almost like a year outdated. We're working on updating that right now, but
yeah, it's fucking hard to keep a website updated. I've been trying to do ours and keep ours updated. Ours just needs a whole revamp at this point. Yeah, I don't like how I did it like a year and a half ago. But now it's so much to just redo the whole thing, and it gets pushed and pushed and pushed as like you guys have other things come up. Yeah, I get that. So is that like where the name came from as well? Like DUMBDAYS as a name came from that kind of that vein.
Kind of, yeah. I think also, like I was saying before, like create or following your creative instinct. It's kind of like I thought of the name, and I was like, to me, it kind of meant like just not taking things too serious. Like when I was growing up and making films, it was kind of like it was like a dumb day. Like just like forget, we're not trying to make anything great. We're just gonna have fun. And so it kind of came from that, and then kind of as I went on the past year and a half, like building it up, it kind of honed in more that like what it really meant. So
Where'd the character? Like
yes, that's what I want. That's what I want to know.
Does he have a name?
Steve, yeah.
Steve.
His name is Steve. I love the idea of like because obviously in the modern creative space too, it's like you have to have a face. And the idea of DUMBDAYS it's not like me. Like it is right now. It's like pretty much just me doing everything like that. But it's supposed to be something bigger than me. So it's like, what's the face of the brand? Like who are you learning about this stuff from? And it's Steve, the character. And he's been through like a few iterations. Like if you look at the Instagram. Or even, I don't have a sticker with me, but he looked much different. So that kind of blue character, but, and he's the one that makes people dumb. Like there's like a whole brand refresh is coming kind of soon where it's like, he has a ray gun that makes people dumb. And it's like, we're bringing to this dumb world of like, just like everyone can be creative. Everyone has that within themselves. Like people might not know it, but they can do it. And so that's Steve's job is to bring that out.
Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, I was talking to my roommate last night. You're talking about merch ideas. Yo, a little plushy Steve. Yeah. Go crazy.
No, that's where it's like the goal too. Is that like we're talking before, like we're having merch release soon, and like to me, like I want like simple merch designs, but I want to make like physical stuff. So like plushie Steve.
Yeah, little plushies. I was talking to my roommate. He was like, "Yeah, that would be a really cute little thing to have. Like, hell, I'd take one, throw it up there for the set.
Exactly. I'll give
like
you guys
a
one,
little Steve.
Yeah,
for the
little
set.
Steve action.
Yeah. So you in your personal projects as well, you've worked on short films, a couple commercials. Where did the music video aspect come from in your filmmaking, your cinematography?
Yeah, I've always kind of loved music. Like I loved like listening to music and just like kind of being lost in my own world with it. Like I think my Spotify like yearly listens, whatever that metric is like insane, like almost like 200K. Like it's like crazy minutes listen. Because I just love listening to music, whether it's like writing, editing, just like whatever.
That's like more time listening to music than not.
Yeah, right.
Like you do you sleep listening to music?
Used to. I haven't done it this past year though, but I used to do that a lot because I couldn't sleep when I was little. But I stopped doing that, but it's still up there.
200K is a large.
I don't recommend it. And honestly,
it's stressful, man.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I know. But I always kind of love music, and I'm pretty sure like I was seeing this the other day. But when I was like 8, like when I was talking before, like going on YouTube, I used to make like animated music videos, like taking like. They're called AMVs, like taking like anime, right? Like there's Naruto, I'm pretty sure. And like pairing it with some like crazy music and like on the Windows Movie Maker and doing shit like that.
Yeah, I think I've seen those before, yeah.
Yeah, like they're very like, and mine were like so bad.
My sister makes them, so I'm super familiar. And yeah, Naruto, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of like that. And I just love like matching like visuals with music and the motion, the feeling behind it. So kind of went from there. And then in college, I did a few of them. In high school, I did a few of them too. In college, I did them. And the idea of DUMBDAYS 2 wasn't really like just a music video company. It was supposed to be more than that. But during COVID, like I loved, like COVID obviously was horrible, still is horrible. But the one bright side from it was like the amount of people that like found the creative side during COVID.
That's
like
true.
Artists like Glaive, Breakins, all those kind of artists, like they were locked at home, started to make music, and they made some great stuff.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And so I kind of like love the idea of like there's so many people out there, I'm sure, that like are exploring the creative side that like don't really have the platform yet. So like I loved working with really smaller artists that I felt like had that passion and wanted to work with them and collaborate with that.
Yeah, and I had that. How do you choose an artist that fits like the dumb vibe? You know, do you reach out to artists? Do they come to you and you kind of pick and choose who you want to work with? How does that kind of work?
In the beginning, like a year ago, it was like me reaching out. Like some of the first artists that work with like Jonah Roy, I just DM'd them like, hey, let's make a video. Like I'll do it for free. Like I love your stuff. Let's make something cool. So that kind of was it. Now it's kind of like we take submissions, people apply, and it's like it's not about a money thing. Like I don't care about the budget. Like budget comes into play with a certain amount of things of like time. Like obviously if I have other stuff, I can't take time away. But if it's a really cool song and like the person seems really cool, like, and I can tell they're doing something different, like in terms of like they're not just trying to. I'm sure you are musicians too. Like, there's so much noise out there, so much like people just trying to like follow certain paths. But like people that are clearly trying to do their own thing, like, and that shows like that fits the Dumb brand.
Yeah.
So
how'd you like get in contact with Buppy? That's someone that
Buppy.
we weirdly we were just talking about this like. We know everyone around Buppy, but we don't know Buppy.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like
he's really, you guys should meet him. I'm sure he'd be glad to come. He's really nice. He DM'd me, I think, after the Jonah video. And then he was like, hey, I have this video for this song. We should make something. And it was a song, What's the Deal with the Shit? You know that one? With Shy High.
What's the deal?
And it's funny. He's like, yeah, like Shy High's coming to LA. And so like this week, so we should do a video then. And I was like, cool. But what's funny was that Shahai was coming to LA because we were throwing a show with him. So he was coming, like we were bringing him out to come do it. And Buppy didn't know that. So I was like, yeah, like he's here because of this. So I met him through that. We did that video, which is super fun. He's such a nice kid. Like I know you guys had his sister on here too.
Yeah, we had Eleanor, 2-3 months ago, something like that at this point. Yeah.
No, it was super cool. I weirdly met Buppy through, he like opened for like a random show that I was going to, a guy named Ryan Lehan. Yeah. And I was like just sitting there and then like I just saw this random like kid come on and then I was like, oh, he's cool. And I turned to the girl next to me. I'm like, yo, this guy's awesome. She's like, yeah, I know. That's my brother. And then, like that's how I met Eleanor. And then like
Yeah, he's super nice. He's like, I think he just turned 19 or something like that.
I know, it's crazy.
He's really sometimes like TikTok sometimes makes me feel just very like old for my for my level of talent, you know? Well, yeah, there's for like 18, 19-year-olds doing stuff like Buffy's doing. Stuff, yeah. And I'm like kind of
Or even, bro, have you seen like the 16, have you ever seen like the 16-year-old, like the Band Lab, like music videos where it's just like these like, or not even 16, I'm talking like, you know, like maybe like 12-year-old kids where they're just dropping like full-on records, like making these songs and they're like, I don't know. They like voice hasn't even dropped.
AJ Cash, freaking. We have a guy who comes on our live streams and sends in songs. I think he's like 13, 14. Some of the best music we get on the live streams every week. And then one day we were like, yo, like what DAW do you use? Like I think we were having like Mike and I have an ongoing Pro Tools Ableton war. And he goes, I make my stuff in Band Labs. I record into my
your phone,
like either his phone or his like wired AirPod.
That's crazy.
Headset, and we couldn't tell. Like literally, it'd be like week 3 or week 4 of him sending music.
It's
crazy. And he was like, I all on my phone. I don't even have a computer good enough to run DAW. I just make it on my phone. Like the level of stuff.
And I'm like, what am I doing, bro? You know, I'm sitting there with hours.
Damn.
Like, I'm imagining like there's probably gonna be something for like video editing in that same regard too. Could you imagine like where it's like someone's making a music? I mean, people make music videos on their phone.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just saying like editing wise.
Yeah, I mean like isn't like CapCut has come out recently with all of that like AI kind of transition stuff that it can do. Yeah. Like that's kind of coming for our job a little bit there. Exactly. You know?
Yeah, it's scary, but I think it's so awesome. Like the tools to create are even crazier now.
I think it's just about taking whatever tools we have now and figuring out, because maybe everyone's using CapCut, but is everyone using CapCut this way?
Exactly.
You know, it's about taking whatever comes out.
You got to stay dumb.
Yeah, you got to keep being dumb with it. Yeah, not using it correctly.
No, that's super cool. So the other thing that I was thinking was like, I know that you've done a couple music videos. And I know that you were also teasing like a video game and stuff.
Yes.
Maybe without like, I don't know if you want to spoil it. I don't know.
Yeah, give us the entire story of the video game.
Yeah, I need the lore. I need
the... Yeah, that's cool. That's like a more, because I want to be a director, right? Like I want to direct films. That's what I went to school for. But video games to me are so cool. Like directing video games, like games like God of War, Last of Us, like we know those, right? Yeah. Like they're pretty much movies, right? And I think they're, especially like God of War, like a game like that, the newer ones, like the themes in them are so powerful.
Yeah.
And it's like instead of just like watching a movie where you're living in their world or watching it for 2 hours, you are in the world in the game. You're playing the game, like you know, it's a whole different experience. So I love doing that. That's my dream in the future when I'm like 40, is like directing games. But so I've been teaching myself like basic coding, but the idea of the DUMBDAYS game is essentially it's like a playable magazine. Like I love the idea of like a magazine where it's like you get all these creators in this one little package and you can learn about them and you can find new people and that kind of stuff like that. But it's like a playable version of that. And it's still in the very, very early stages. Like I'm still trying to figure out like what that would look like. But that's the idea of it. And there's more from there, but that's the basic one. Is like it's called like the dumb demo disc is what we're working on right now, which we announced yesterday, which is just like a collection of mini games, then like a test version of what that would be like. So like imagine like a Roseflower world, right? Where you can go there and explore and do that kind of stuff, and you're playing it, but you're learning about the brand and what the mission is and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's super cool. I love that. I think world building on its own is one of like the best. Like, one, it's fun. Two, it's like one of the most like unique ways to market and build and brand and stuff. Like,
exactly.
I hate to be that guy to bring up this, and I can't believe I'm about to say this in a podcast.
What are you about to say?
But FNAF does a really good job of that.
Okay, Micah, you're fired.
No, but not even that. But I'm also saying like I have a buddy of mine who's working on this app, and I'm not gonna speak on it because it's like his is super like exclusive underwear stuff. But it's the same sort of thing where he's doing like a pretty basic, like imagine like a calendar basic type of thing. Mm-hmm. But then there's this whole world building element where like if you like complete your job for that calendar, then all of a sudden like, oh, your tree grows and you can go talk to other people who are growing. It's like crazy how like all of a sudden if you can gamify something that is very normal, it's like a really cool and unique way to go about it. I think like that I would be really interested with that. I would also be curious. I bet you could probably get some like playable ads involved in there too and get some ad revenue, bro.
Yeah, right. No, I was telling my idea to one of my friends. He was like, "Dude, you could sell like a wall space.
Yeah.
And have like someone like pay you money." I was like, "Yeah." I mean, in the future, it'd be cool. Right now, I don't think there's any like room for that, or like, not room, but like who would want to pay me right now? But
I'll give you $5.
Yeah, exactly.
I got you.
But no, that's the idea too, and it's also just like, yeah, it's like, you know, not to get into that too, but like the metaverse, right?
Yeah,
that's like that kind of thing, like whatever that is, and whenever it's coming, but. Yeah, I think games are here. Fortnite is a great example, right? Like,
hang on, can we just stop? We've said FNAF, and Metaverse, and Fortnite within the span of like 2 minutes.
Dangerous.
Oh no!
No, but you keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but no, I think Fortnite just shows, right? It's like a vehicle for stuff like Travis Scott, all those different concerts. Like, it's pretty crazy. Like I don't know, but you guys, I grew up playing like games like Halo and like that kind of stuff, and it was like a social space almost. Like, you would go on their Xbox for the day and like talk to your friends and like go play like whatever it is, and it was like. I think that's even more now, right? People just go on Fortnite and play like 100 hours a day. It's crazy. So, yeah, I think it's here to stay. But that's the idea of it, and I think the goal is like within the next month we'll have like the demo out.
Yeah.
Just like a very basic, like a one world, like shows what it could be, and then build it from there.
Yeah, I tried to play the Flappy Bird kind of thing you put out, but I was at LAX waiting for my bag to come through, and I saw it come up, and I couldn't get connection. I do it like twice, and then my connection would lose, and I'd die, which is very upsetting because I was like, I'm trying to get that fucking
You can just admit that you're bad at Flappy Bird.
Yeah, you can admit that too.
Okay, I was never very good at Flappy Bird, but we don't need to.
Happens to all of us.
I'm not here to be roasted, my guy.
I'm here to.
But speaking on like self-taught and doing that kind of thing, I was wondering. You mentioned Blender a lot.
Yeah.
Now, when I was younger, I fucking loved Blender.
Really?
I loved Blender. I like went to like Blender summer camp one time.
Really? I didn't know that.
To learn like character building. It was like a Monday to Friday summer camp.
Wow.
Where we went and learned how to like build characters in Blender.
How old are you?
12, 13 at that time, some shit like that.
I didn't even know Blender was a thing when I was a kid.
Nah, big nerd, my guy.
Yeah, I guess.
So I was wondering, where did you self-taught Blender or animation in general? Did it come from, you mentioned going to college for filmmaking.
Yeah.
Where did that, and then specifically Blender, where did that come in?
I always loved I always wanted to learn Blender. Like, I think when I was little too, like I've always been self-taught with editing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was trying for like a Windows Movie Maker when I was like 7, then iMovie, then Final Cut. And I always tried like, I think it was like Cinema 4D back then, like the pirated version, I'll admit. But like, I always try to learn it so fucking hard. Like, obviously I'm like a 10-year-old, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But the past like 2-3 years, I majored in film production, but I wanted to do visual effects as a minor. So I like played around with like, try to learn Blender. I decided not to be visual effects, and then I tried like the donut blender, like was so frustrating and gave up. But then the past 2 months, I was like, all right, I really want to try it. Like I really want to bring my animation. I used to be doing like After Effects, like that kind of 2D animation. I was like, Blender's so crazy. Like I could do so much just if I just learn how to do this.
Yeah.
So I sat down, drank coffee, and like grinded out like 3 tutorials. And by then I was like, I would do one tutorial, the donut one, and then I'd be like, all right, I know that. Now, to reward myself, I'm going to try to make something that I want to see in the meantime. So I made like the first version of Steve, I think, in that, or the 3D version of Steve in that. And then I just did tutorials from there, like self-taught.
Yeah, and then this may be a stupid question. Is Blender still free?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That's crazy. It's so insane that it's free because you could do like a million other things in it. Like,
yeah, like I see like entire music video type things, and it comes up at the end, just kind of fades to made 100% in Blender, and I'm like, seriously?
Like and then the cool thing about Blender is like you can just look up any question you have, any idea you have, and someone has already talked.
Because it's been so popular.
Yeah, it's so popular, and it's been around for so long. You say you're doing it back when you're 12, like. It's been around for so long that someone has like thought about it and like has done it.
And it's been like not just around, but at the peak of like at the very least like semi-pro, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like
visual design.
Like semi-professional, semi-amateur people, you know, like it is the thing, you know? Like, yes, maybe if you're working for Marvel, you're using After Effects or, you know, whatever they might be using.
Right.
But a lot of people, you know, unless they make that jump, it's Blender, you know? Like, it's still very much the, like, pinnacle for a lot of people when it comes to, like, animation, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and, like, so I guess on that, do you I guess you maybe answered this already. Do you plan on incorporating more animation? And I know that you incorporate like the cutout printed stuff into your music videos. Do you plan on like going more into like the multimedia kind of music video kind of thing with animation?
Yeah.
Printed out, like stop motion, you could call it animation.
Yeah.
Like where do you see that kind of like medium going?
I think for me, I definitely want to get like I love doing it. Like the my route for music videos, like I want to like make something that's like super fun, obviously to watch, but like almost like addictive to watch. And for me, it's like the animation, like it's so fun to watch, stuff like that. So I definitely want to get more into that. Like I'm doing a video tomorrow that's like 50% of it is like animation. And the video I did with Buppy, the one we just did like last month, was like the first time I really like tried to do like 3D animation in it. And that one was fun. But yeah, I love like the printing out stuff is super fun.
Yeah.
Like, I love animation. I love just like those loops and the stuff you can make from that. The stuff we did with Jacob, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, no, that I was literally about to mention that video, because that video, I watched it and I was like, oh, that was cool. And I watched it again, and it was only about halfway through the second watching, I figured out what exactly I was looking at. And like, oh, wait, that's paper. That's like, and then I watched the Buffy one, kind of same thing. I watched it, rewatched it, and it was only on the second one. I was like, that's crayon. That's like, he drew that. Wait a second. You know, and it blew my mind. Like, how long does that take? Because I imagine you're cutting maybe not every frame, but maybe every other frame, every third frame, something like that.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like, most of them are like 12 frames a second. It honestly depends. Like some of them can take like hours. Like when I did the one with Jacob, the All You Ever Wanted More, that one took a longer, because that was like the first time really trying that.
Yeah.
That medium. So a lot of it was like, and the thing too is you don't have no idea what else it's going to look like until you do it. So like I would make a lot of them and like spend hours, cutting it out, like tracing it, coloring, and then I look at them like, that's not that cool.
Yeah, it looks like ass, yeah.
But the thing is, it's fun to do them. Like it's fun, like it's really like, it's like I'm a child, like with crayons, like literally like.
Totally doodling, yeah.
Like I have a friend named Angel Orozco's a really great director. He does a lot of like Curtis Waters videos, or Greek, if you know him, like super, super talented, like does mixed media, like he's the king of it almost. And we talk about it. It's like literally just like being a child. Like you're with crayons and you're cutting out with paper, and you're just like, you listen to music, you watch like a podcast, or whatever. So it really depends. Sometimes the Buppy one took some time too, but a lot of it's like trial and error.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I've definitely like mashed out a transition or something. Like zoom back out, watch the whole thing through, and be like, well, that was a waste of time.
Exactly.
It just doesn't look good.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, well, for one thing, I edit the podcast. I'm waving to myself right now. But that's my only like level of like knowledge, is like cutting in between scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I met Finlay where I realized, like, even in like the basics of it gave me a respect for editing, like just as a whole, like how hard that job is. But I didn't know like all the masking techniques, and like that's even pretty basic. Like when I say a mask, Finlay rolls his eyes. To me, I'm like, oh gosh,
Yeah, no,
and it's totally. Like, I think that, and when you start to talk about, oh, there's Blender involved in here, and then I'm also literally cutting frame by frame. Like it's a really cool thing, and I have a lot of respect for that. Going into that, do you think, like, where do you see like your music videos going in the future? And I mean, like, artist wise, is there like a specific genre that you're trying to like capture, or is it just like anyone who makes dope music, or like what's your vision for like the artists that you want to work with more?
Yeah, I feel like my taste in music is kind of very broad. Like I love a lot of stuff, so I kind of just follow that. But I think like the common theme in all of that is like they all feel like products of the internet, the music, like the artists, and too like the artists that I want to work with. Like there's a little bit of influence of like maybe like hyperpop, but also just like heavy digital production, like stuff like that. There's not really like a set plan. It's just kind of whoever. Like I have artists I would love to work with, but it's really just like, I guess almost like alternative is like a great, is like a broad term to put on.
I like to put it, the term that I put for that is new age alternative.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
What do you mean? I feel like that's a pretty
highbrow right there.
So, it's the new age alternative. What I feel like what hyperpop is, like hyperpop was made to kind of like just, it was people who really liked pop, like basic pop music, and said like now it's getting way too like commercial, where it's like, oh, the verse has to be this long, so that way when the chorus hits, it has to be right at 15 seconds, because that's when a stream counts or whatever. Like it became like the labels trying to make music for the sake of commercial success.
Right.
So there's a lot of people saying, I want to put the fun back in pop and make it crazy and intense and like back in its glittery bubblegum sort of thing.
Totally.
And I think that's really cool for what it is, and it's really fun and a really awesome genre. But now, like, in the same thing, like the thing that you're talking about was kind of like still not fully to that effect, but it's more so just like, oh yeah, it still has some alternative elements and stuff too. Yeah. I don't know where we're going with that. I just got.
Well, I have a question. Were you an Overcast fan?
Yeah, totally.
When they were around, bro. When they shut down, I was actually heartbroken when I saw that they cut out.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, they were like, I think especially like they were really big in I think Breakins's success early on at least, being able to give him really high quality music videos for, and I think they kind of mutually benefited both of them because they kind of started him. And then when he really popped, they kind of went with him as well. Like, I assume is that kind of what you're hoping to do with artists with DUMBDAYS going forward?
Kind of, yeah. I think that'd be sick. I mean, also, like, I have plans for DUMBDAYS that, like, because at the end of the day, I want to be, like, a general media company.
Yes, yeah.
So there's more avenues than just that. But it's kind of, I think that's also, like, that's, like, the Lyrical Lemonade formula. Like, that's kind of, like, Cole Ben and a lot of other media companies.
Yeah, I think they were the first to do it, really.
Yeah, they show that it's possible, that you can do that. That, like, and I think, like, talking to labels, too, that, like, sometimes if I work with, like, a bigger artist that has a little budget, whatever, like, the idea of music videos, like, it's not like how it used to be, obviously. It's not MTV, $2-3 million, $20 million videos that, like, were directed by, like, some of the top directors. Like, there's none of that now. Yeah. And it makes sense. Like, there's not MTV. There's not this, like, one channel that everyone tunes into and finds out new music. Like, it makes sense. But now they just want, like, a piece of content. They just want, like, something to see, something to attach to the Spotify canvas, something to post the day of, and, like, they don't really care beyond that. And that kind of sucks. Like, I get it, why, from a business standpoint, but from a fan standpoint, from someone in the audience, it's like, I want to see a meaningful piece connected to the song as it builds experience. From a fan of, like Break-Ins, for example. You guys
I know. Sorry,
that was crazy. But Break-Ins, like, you're talking about that, like, that was, like, he made really cool music. It was all on the internet, but, like, they did a whole reveal too of what his face looked like, all that kind of stuff, like, and that built the story of who he was so much more. And, like, that doesn't mean that without those videos he wouldn't have blown up. Like, he still makes amazing music, but it helped in that. And so the same way of, like, you don't need, like, a $20 million flashy, crazy looking video for do that. It's more about, like, you can tell that there's, like, feelings behind it. Like, the artist's having fun. There's something there that just builds it more.
Yeah, and I think you can also, the thing that I think that they did really well was generate hype around an artist. And that's something that if there's hype involved in any category or whatever it is, like, that's where people gravitate to because they don't want to be, like, missing out. They don't want to not be
totally,
involved
that whole scene.
And I think that, like, one thing that they captured really well with a lot of these artists is give them hype and appeal. Like, the same thing that you were saying, like, the whole, like, face reveal, and, like, that was something. And then, like, it was just really interesting. And I wanted to ask another thing. You said, like, YouTube was it's really interesting for you because you're saying, like, YouTube was the thing that, like, really set me off. Where YouTube I just see as something I just, like, can slack off and not do the work,
Yeah.
But what I'm curious about is, like, name some creators, name some people who, like, to you feel like really inspired you, like, next level from YouTube to where DUMBDAYS is now.
Let me think. Because for me, it's almost like, that's a good question. I mean, I'm talking, like, when I was 8 and, like, all those, like, OG YouTubers, like, I don't remember some of their names, but like, I guess OG. Almost like OG, like Smosh too.
Yeah,
just the idea of just, like, creating things online. The fact that anyone can see it was so crazy. But, like, my inspiration comes from, people like Cole Bennett, super cool. Just, he's a great person following just his passion. But I get a lot of, like, inspiration too from, like, directors beyond YouTube. Like, YouTube is more just the idea of, like you can create something and anyone can see it, and there's so many rabbit holes you can go down.
That's true.
Like, for me also, like, when I was, like, 14, I think, like, I found Kevin Abstract, like, before Brockhampton, like, right before they put out the first mixtape, and it was a song Echo, and I found that song, the video with, like, 700 views, and it blew my mind. Like, it was, like, some late night, 2 a.m., and I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. Like, there's so much emotion behind this, so much feeling behind this. How does it only have 700 views? Like, so moments like that, of just like going down these rabbit holes and finding artists, finding other creators that were like so like just like special, but no one knew about them, was like really like inspirational to me, because it was like, wow, there's so many people out there.
Yeah. And then like on that note, you kind of mentioned in our like prep for this that you are currently like working with an artist to creative direct their kind of entire vibe. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, Jacob Gale, amazing artist.
Yeah.
New age alternative artist.
He's right over there.
He's right over there.
Yeah, he's behind the camera, by the way. So how did you guys meet, and like what's your plan to like creative direct to go with to going forward with them? Like how involved is DUMBDAYS in the creative direction, in the music writing, all the way up to the promotion, music videos, that kind of thing? Like where do you come in an artist that you consider yourself like creative directing?
Yeah, so Jacob and I met at a bar one night, like a year ago, maybe more than that. And we had mutual friends that they introduced us. And we were talking Aries. The Aries album just came out, so we were talking about that for like 3 minutes. Yeah. How we were a little disappointed. That's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
And so then we eventually shot a video, or I think we did the concert first before Jamie. We threw that show Back to Basics. That was one we talked before with Shy High. It was like a show just in a warehouse. We took a warehouse in Orange County. Just wanted to make the cheapest show possible with like really cool artists that like people were kind of popping off in that TikTok scene.
Yeah.
So we did that, but we shot Jamie, which is the next song that's coming out, a video for. We shot that first, but it hasn't even been released yet. We shot like 7 months ago, I think, which is going to be one of my favorite videos ever, I think.
Hell yeah.
But the idea of, he has a really amazing EP coming out that he showed to me one time. I thought this was so amazing. Like I love his music. I love like the feeling behind it, and I don't touch any of that kind of stuff. Like the music, the songwriting, whatever he wants to create, I don't touch that. But we were kind of making videos, and we're kind of like, well, this EP is coming out. Like, why don't we just put our heads together on this project and make something really special? Because for me, also part of it's like when I work with artists, like we're making that piece of content, but it's also like, how do we make it stand out? Kind of you were talking before, like there's so much noise out there. How do we make it really stand out? And so we're kind of working backwards of like, we have this really cool project, like, or the thing that I say to a lot of artists, like, I know they're really special, they're really talented, but no one cares right now. But if they listen to it, they would care because they would like it.
Yeah.
So how do we make them care at this point and listen? So like I used to freelance edit for a lot of like bigger media brands who were all about like viral content, like some like big brand creators that would do like, you know, like almost like 1 million on TikTok and stuff like that. And I learned a lot through them of how to grab attention and that kind of stuff, and how that whole system works. So we're just kind of working together about this whole project and how we can get attention behind it. But yeah, I think we have a plan that we're starting to put into action soon. We shot like an acoustic video yesterday for one of the songs off it. But yeah, I'm sure Jacob would have a lot more to say about it too. But yeah, just kind of the idea. It's like, well, why don't we put our heads together and figure out like how we can make people really care about this one and do it together. And there's certain things we have planned for it that you'll see that kind of build up to it. That's kind of like, how do we just like make some crazy stuff that people will be like, what the hell is this?
Okay. And then that's the kind of stuff I like to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty hyped for that. Yeah.
But yeah, just more of the creative. Like I don't touch the music or anything like that. I told Jacob all his amazing work.
Well, let's talk about what you do touch, because I know that you've won some. That sounded weird. That was a horrible transition. So here's the thing: Finley's so good with transitions. He is, and I always try and beat him, but I did not do that today. Let's talk about you.
Yeah, let's talk about what I touch. Me and who I touch.
Yeah. Well, not who, but what.
What?
And I mean by that is, I know that you've won some awards, including like LA, what is it, the Los Angeles Best
Thriller.
Are you pulling up the, okay.
No, what was the award called?
It was, I have it at the bottom here. I had Suncast Student Emmy.
Oh yeah.
I was very intrigued by that. First I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah,
Student Emmy. I know, and it arrived in the mail. You were like, literally. Shit.
No, that I used to be part of. I went to school in South Florida, and we had like a film media like part of it class. and I did some stuff for them, and like we made stuff and they won awards. They were like they would put us in competitions. Like we had this one competition every year. We would go and you have like 8 hours to make a music video. They would give you like 3 songs, and you'd be this like massive convention of like full of like other like high schoolers, middle schoolers, all in media and film, and they would hand you like a USB drive that has 3 songs. Like you have 8 hours to hand us a delivered video. Go do whatever you want.
But 3 songs.
And you choose one of them. You choose one of the songs.
And then do you work with the artists or anything?
No, it's like they literally just give it to you and you figure it out.
Wow.
And you know, a lot of the songs were honestly very bad. So, but it was cool. It was that kind of that run and gun like, and that was before like I knew I really wanted to do music videos. But that's kind of where that comes from. But it sounds really cool. But no, it's like a student Emmy for like that one section of like Florida.
Okay, yeah. And then the other thing, while I was on, there was both the DUMBDAYS website and your own personal website, and there was mention of Otherworld Studios.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that still around? Is that like a previous iteration of what you're doing now? Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was the old version of DUMBDAYS. So I always kind of knew I wanted to do a media brand.
Yeah.
I had one with my roommates in college. That was really cool. That was called Dogfish. And that was just like, well, let's make a production company. We'll put our heads together, make money, like learn how to. I believe in like further together, faster alone.
No, I think Logan and I had a very similar conversation. I think like almost word for word what you just said. Put our heads together, make some money. Right before we started Roseflower. It's a little bit harder than that we found, but you know.
Yeah, but
we make do.
Because it was like, film schools or whatever, everyone has their opinions on it. But like one of my roommates was a DP. And so it was like, well, I'm better at directing, you're better at shooting. And then we had other like, let's just do stuff together. Like, why do it alone? And that was really cool. We learned a lot. Kind of disbanded after time during COVID. It kind of didn't really pan out. So I made Otherworld. That was kind of like I knew I always wanted to do media company. I did that. Did a few music videos under that. It was when I was still in school, so I was kind of really busy. And then I was like, I graduated. I was like, all right, I want to take this serious. I want to do this 100% of my time, but like, don't really like the branding of that. Like, I don't know if you saw anything about it. It was kind of more like.
Like a purple spaceship kind of thing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like, and so it was like it was cool, but it wasn't like I wanted like something that could like be kind of that feeling, but also be more serious when it needs to be. So I changed it to DUMBDAYS. Actually, it used to be called DUMBDAYS with like a umarand, like the dots on the U.
Yeah. Okay.
DUMBDAYS, and then I was like, that's too confusing. DUMBDAYS.
That it would be one of those things where people might have just read it as DUMBDAYS anyway, and then you would have had to go around being like, "No, it's DUMBDAYS."
Exactly, and I was like, "It's not that."
And then you'd sound dumb,
Exactly, and not the good kind.
Come on.
But no, yeah, and then like I made a lot of films when I was at school. That's kind of probably what you saw too in the website. And yeah, I love to do that again in the future, but it's kind of like, I love movies that are like thrillers and like psychological stuff, and I feel like I'm way too young to even like say anything important about that kind of stuff. So I'd rather live life, like figure stuff out, and then go back and like make stories like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as we run down on the time here, I do want to ask. We kind of touched a little bit, but if you want to go into more detail, 2023, we're in January.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to achieve as DUMBDAYS this year?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing right now is release with Jacob, his EP release. The next few months is really cool. We want to do a second Back to Basics festival, somewhere in LA this time, much bigger, maybe even like 2 days would be sick. But same idea of like cheapest tickets possible, amazing, large ring of artists. It's a place where you can go to no matter if you know the artist, even if you like music, there's something for you there just to hang out.
Fuck yeah.
The video game, and just, we'll see, more music videos.
Yeah.
We're launching other web series on the channel soon, and yeah, just seeing what comes from that.
Staying dumb.
Yeah. All right. Well, exactly. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. As we move into here, we got that camera. If you can catch it.
The slider. Yeah, it's moving.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, it's moving. It's going. Instagram, Twitter, where can people find you and get more dumb after they're done listening to this podcast?
All platforms at DUMBDAYS _ at the end. We don't have the official handle yet, but we're getting there. My own thing, just Alex Eat Up on all of them too. And yeah, check it out. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, thank you for coming down. Micah. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Shoelace Music. That's spelled SHOO because I'm a little dumb. And that's about it. And Finlay, where can they find you and where can they find Roseflower Records?
You can find me on Instagram at Finlay Did It, because who did it?
Finlay did it.
I've got him trained so well at this point.
Great.
It's great. You can find Roseflower Records at Roseflower Records on Instagram, at Roseflower Records on Twitter, because they said Roseflower was too long. So we had to go with Roseflower Records.
It sounds cool.
Yeah. www.roseflowerrecords.com. We have two crew necks left on roseflowerrecords.com/shop. And then like 5 beanies, something like that. Grab them while they're gone. These designs are not coming back, so make sure you get them while you can. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Hell yeah.